Hi, we are live here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, and we're about to go live on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show with our host, Zhana, joining us live from London. And today we're talking Black success with Zhana. The Soulful Chicago Book Fair is introducing some fabulous authors, and you're going to get a chance to meet them in just one moment. So we want you to be inspired today as we get prepared to introduce you to some fascinating people. And we are going to be going all around the world. We've got authors from as far away as Japan joining us today here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. And so this is a show you want to share with all that you know as we meet some inspiring people and we get ready to perhaps inspire you to create that book that's been in your mind all these years. Well, we want you to bring it on out, and we'll be live with our host, Zhana, at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, and we're here at 63rd and Dorchester. So we want you to join us live. Come on down if you're in and around the Chicagoland area. And if you want to join us by phone, call us 515-605-9325 and press 1. And we'll be right back.
Oh yeah, right, right. To all the members of my family, whenever and wherever you may visit. To our family in China, Ni Hao, in India, Namaste, in Japan, Konnichiwa, in Korea, Annyeonghaseyo, in Russia, Taiwan, in Germany, Korea, in Japan,
I dropped it that day. There's an association. Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking. I mean, it's like a lot. You ain't thinking about it consciously, right? You're like, baseball. No, it was conscious. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm not doing it. Right. I also knew.
Good morning, Grand Rising. Good afternoon, good evening. This is Zhana with the Soulful Chicago show on the Female Solution Worldwide Radio and TV Network. Today, I'm going to be speaking with two authors from the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. There's so many noises up. I'm going to try and figure it out. Come to my listeners. Welcome to the show with Zhana on the Female Solution Worldwide Radio and TV Network. And the leader of the distributed Black people, and I host the annual Drunken Carnival for Nonviolence. And I'm your host for today, and on the first Saturday of the month. Here on the show, every month we seek to help you and support you to find solutions to your problems. We're here to help you make 2023 your best year yet. So today, my wonderful
But it's the same thing. Oh, yeah. He walks around like, no. But I really admire about that.
it's one of my distinctions of 2 hours about the criminal and but you know, we'll get it done. And you've got some really, really interesting authors.
Come on. And he was always a very smart young man. That's not a man. He was always he had people behind him. But I what I used to want
So that's 001 515 605 9325. And you can also catch up with us on Facebook at the Female Solution. So my first guest, I'm not sure you know,
he's not saying I'm the great cat come out of rock.
Yes, you got it right.
He's not
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
And for those who are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, I'm going to hold up a copy of his book. The title of the book is well, he's got yes. And one of the exciting things about our guest is that, of course, he did, grow up in Japan, and so he had an entirely, definitely a unique experience, but also because this is a perspective we don't often get. We're really excited to get a chance to have him tell his story and perhaps give us a better perspective, because we tend to think very narrow, and to understand that not only are Black people all over the world, but everybody's experience is different, and it really comes back down to discovering who you are, discovering your roots, and defining yourself. So we are so excited today, and excited to be joining Zhana live from London in the UK. And we want you all to call in. If you've got questions or comments, 515-605-9325, and press 1 so your number lights up on our switchboard. And if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, we want you to come on down to the show, Soulful Chicago Book Fair. And let me, for those who are joining us visually on the Female Solution Facebook and YouTube page, you can see this handsome young man sitting right next to me, the author of some fantastic books, coming to us all the way from Japan. Taquan, thank you so much for joining us today on the Female Solution.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes. Now, are you able to hear her okay? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Say again. I didn't hear this. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the question. Well, Afro-Asiatic is our logo, the logo that I use. And originally, Afro-Asiatic was a hip-hop group that we formed in Hamamatsu back in like 2000. And actually, the other original member is a guy. He lived in Chicago. He lived in Japan way before I did. He came back to Chicago, and he'll be here later. But that's where the original concept came from. My sister and brother. My mother's Japanese. My sister and brother were born in Japan. my father is American, so he wanted one of his children to be born in America. So they actually put my mom on a plane, sent her to America, and I was born in Topeka, Kansas. Never been there. Don't know anybody from there. But I ended up going back to Japan. So I didn't know I was born in the States until I was like using my birth certificate to play baseball and stuff. I thought Topeka was a city in Japan when I was little. Wow. It's phonetically like Topeka. That's what my mother used to always say.
That's right, because you were born here. Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but okay. Well, again, it goes back to the concept of Afro-Asiatic. And if you see the logo, I don't know if you can see it anywhere. It's right there, but
oh, well, here we can grab one of the books and I can hold it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So we're showing the logo here on our Facebook and YouTube channel, and this is the Afro-Asian symbol you say?
Well, Afro-Asiatic. That's
Afro-Asiatic. Oh, okay.
Well, if you say the word Afro-Asiatic, normally people will think of a subset of languages,
that's
like
interesting.
Amharic and I believe Yiddish and even Hebrew might be involved in there. We're not using that. Like that's like either a word that's hyphenated or two separate words. Mm-hmm. We put it together. If you see the symbol, you can see the balance in it. It sort of reminds you of the yin yang, but it's kind of a symbol that kind of represents me in terms of my experience and talking about the balance, really talking about balance and unity and really just moving up to higher things in this life, in this world. But Afro-Asiatic perspectives is really just coming from that, and I guess the best way I could say it is it transcends Western ideology and kind of goes. It's like either the past or the future, because now we're kind of in the paradigm we're in right now. I could say like the Western paradigm is really what runs everything. But if you go back to the ancient world, it's a lot different in terms of like medicine, the way people saw things, the way people moved politically and spiritually. And I think that a lot of that is starting to come back again when you see the holistic medicine or just alternative modes of living that slowly but surely we're moving back. So it's kind of like the future and the past. Not to disrespect anything that's going on now, but again, alternative. Right. Yes. Yes. Again, change is something that we talk about a lot. People talk about, but in my personal experience, I start to notice that people like to talk about it, but when it's time to actually do it, people and I'm not saying they're like dishonest or anything. It's just it's more difficult than just talking about it, because the change actually is not. It's easy to say I want to change this, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and right. I'm sorry, was I exposed to? Oh, yes, definitely.
What was the word?
Buddhism.
Oh, Buddhism. Oh, yes, that's right, because Zhana is a Buddhist. And what was that like?
Well, my mother is Buddhist, and even about 10 years ago, I worked in a Buddhist school in Kyoto, a private Buddhist school called Heian. And Heian is like one of the ancient names of Kyoto. So It's really the Buddhism in Japan is really just, to me, it's hard to differentiate like a Buddhist Japanese from a Shinto Japanese. The real religion in Japan is being Japanese and the society, because the society itself is formed from Buddhism, Confucianism, um, and even I think those are the two biggest contributors. So yeah, like if you see a Buddhist Japanese and another Japanese, you can't really tell the difference in the way that they live.
Yeah, it is. I can tell about that. Right, yeah, yeah, that's that. I shouldn't look at them walk there. They just want to walk there.
But yes, but I think another thing is when you talk about in the West, the Western mentality in terms when it comes to religion and Buddhism, especially with yoga, we tend to think of it as like yoga as an activity or something you can join. And when you talk to Buddhists like from India, they're more, they don't really see it as religion. It's just a way of life, right? Like yoga is not something you do on the weekends. If you're a yogi, you're breathing, you're practicing your breathing techniques now, right now, all the time. There's no separation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Right. And yeah, I think that's just the way of the world right now.
You can pass that.
Okay. Um, I'm not really sure about that because it seems like we're in a time now where we've done everything. Everything's already been done. Like anything that we try to do now, if you look in the past, you can see somebody who did it better or longer. So I think a lot of it now is, even for myself, is I learn something and I filter it. And the things that work, I keep it. But the things that don't, uh, I don't criticize. Like for example, the cross message with Dianetics, right?
Yeah.
You run Hubbard.
Yes, yeah, L. Ron Hubbard, yeah.
There's a lot of spiritual knowledge there, but I'm not ready to join Scientology.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know. Well, I got a question, Zhana, also, because I feel that Japanese culture tends to be a lot more ancient in terms of going back many more years than, say, of Western culture tends to even acknowledge that the human family existed. So when you look at ancient wisdom, you know, like Torquan is saying, everything's already been done before if you go back far enough. But I don't think we go back far enough. So when you were growing up, did you have more of a sense of an ancientness of the place where you live, like 10,000, 20,000 years as opposed to just 200 or 300 years?
Yes and no. Since World War II, a lot of Japanese, they see pre-World War II Japanese.
Oh, oh wow, I know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the imperial.
They see it. They see it at pre World War II Japan is evil.
Yeah, like the Japanese mentality at the time because it was imperialism.
Oh,
Right, so they don't want to acknowledge that.
oh, okay. So they're not proud of that part of their
Right.
heritage. Oh, that's interesting.
But then there's another side, like for example, next week, Japanese, it's actually different places, but for the most part, they're celebrating Obon. And the Obon holiday is a reverence to ancestors.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, Yeah, the ancestry is there. It kind of is person to person. My family, yes, they talked about it,
Mm.
right? Because my mother is from a country samurai family, so they would bring stuff up quite often.
Wow.
I'm
Were
sorry.
you aware of Black history at all?
Well, yeah. Once we moved here, when I was in elementary school, when I started going to school here, I became very quick. Because the
Mm.
kids were like, "What? Oh no, not in Japan at all."
So that wasn't something that was like taught at school?
Right. Um, what Kwanzaa celebrations? Uh, I saw like some small impromptu gatherings, but I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if Kwanzaa is to me actually qualifies as an African American system because it was created what like 1966.
Yeah, it's very recent, 1966 by
Moringa,
Malala Karenga.
he's kind of sketchy.
Yeah, not everybody agrees.
He's kind of sketchy.
Yeah, you know, I remember when he came to my college. I went to the University of Nebraska and met Ron Karenga. And some of the people who had, I guess, objections to the idea of someone creating a cultural holiday, it was like, how do you just sort of smush everything together and say, well, we'll take a little bit of, a little bit from Ghana, a little bit from Nigeria, a little bit from South Africa, a little bit from Kenya, and just kind of add stuff. You know, and I guess that's kind of the impression people got that he took a little bit from different cultural traditions. Yeah, and you know, yeah, everything made up actually.
Yeah, they're all mean. Yeah. My critique on it is not that it's a made up holiday. It's just I don't know this guy who he is, and but even that night, when I was growing up in the States, I don't really remember a lot of Kwanzaa celebrations. Like if they were like sponsored in people's houses.
Oh, okay,
You know what I'm
it was
saying? When
like
I
a
went to
big
people's
event.
homes, yeah, I don't remember. It was like kind of like they have a party or something like that, but they would also have Christmas too.
Yeah,
Okay. Mhm. But I
yeah.
heard that this year, and the name is escaping me, that there was a celebration right either on Christmas, and an ancient, it was a holiday that the descendants of the slaves actually celebrated.
Oh, you're talking about
Or it's
let's see.
yeah, I can't remember right now.
Well, I know that there's a celebration that Black people in America have on New Year's Eve because it was on New Year's Eve that they were waiting for President Lincoln to sign the Emancipation Proclamation to set the captives free. And so that's called Watch Night, you know, because it's to watch and see if January 1st. Right, right. So I think that's something that's probably uniquely American because that's the experience we had. So a lot of the things that we look at as Black history, it's really American Black history because it wasn't happening everywhere in the world. So now I was going to show our viewing audience the book Decoded, and uh, and for those who are watching us on Facebook and YouTube, I'm holding up the author's book, 21st Century Japan Decoded by Taekwan Amaru. And here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. Yes. They call it something else. That could be. That could be. I mean, another thing also, there were a lot of different religious groups here. There were a lot of Muslims here. They were celebrating different Eid celebrations that would have been, native to that religion. Um, so it's almost
there's another holiday and the name, and the reason I know
it might be Juneteenth. I don't know that.
No, it's on because I did an event with this book for an English book in Japan, and I remember I said it because it was on the same. It was like Christmas Eve, and I said, I just can't remember. Yeah, but
it's not Kwanzaa, but it's something.
Yeah, I saw a lot of groups. When I'm in Japan, I saw a lot of groups on television. I think Tariq Nasheed was doing it. Yeah. It's like. No, I think Tuk-Tuk is the language. There's an African American language. Yeah, I can't believe that's not.
Now in Japan, I know there are a lot of people who migrated from Africa. So do you find a lot of Blacks in Japan that are direct immigrants from Africa?
Oh yeah. Even the guy right here, a friend of mine.
Yeah. So
he's a PhD.
Dr. Eligio Mare, and
he's from Mozambique.
There's this one part I want to Zhana, if it's okay, there's this one part on the back of the book I want to read, which is kind of shocking. It says, in 2020, over 21,000 Japanese committed suicide, including a record number of 415 school children aged 6 to 18. Add to this a staggering 613,000 middle-aged hikikomori, who seek sanctuary from the overwhelming pressure by barricading themselves in a bedroom at their parents' house, and it is obvious that mental illness is a major issue. So this is on the back of Taekwan Amaru's book, 21st Century Japan Decoded, and I know that suicide is common. And now, is that because public shame is common?
Okay, because to answer both your questions, well, because I'm of Japanese descent, I guess over the past 20 years, a lot of, foreigners or people who are migrated to Japan, they write me, they've emailed me questions about their Japanese co-workers or their girlfriend, or why do they do this? Or I feel like I'm being a victim, I'm being targeted for racism or something. And I noticed over about 20 years, it's basically the same questions coming over and over and over. So I basically just put everything together and just wrote this book. Wow. Exactly. Right. And it's updated, so not the 20th century, but decoded so that people can understand what's going on.
So did things change? Yes. No,
Okay.
it's okay.
Oh, definitely. Well, especially for people who have kids, right? You come home with your children, and then they go into school, and they're alienated, right? Or just people, if you're not Japanese, sitting on the people always talk about, yeah, nobody sits next to me on the train. Everybody will get away
Wow.
from me. And especially for people like black people, non-rich people, like when I'm in Chicago, it's like I'm walking, it's like, hey, how you doing? How you doing, man? Good evening. People speak to each other. It's that southern hospitality. They come from
Yeah.
Mississippi and
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's the opposite. If unless if you're not in my group, yeah,
Oh, that's so. It's not a British thing, huh? People don't talk to each other over there. Oh. Oh, okay.
right, oh, I know.
Yeah, New Yorkers don't do that.
Wow, you don't sound like you from New York anymore.
Yeah, definitely the New York accent is gone.
Okay, but yeah, nah, you're not that old. I can tell. But in Japan, um, the opposite. If for example, if you, I come here and I don't talk to you, if I sit down next to you and I don't talk to you, I don't look at you at all, I don't acknowledge you. That's the highest form of respect
Oh,
because I'm giving
wow.
you your space. Yeah,
I know, total opposite.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
you imagine that. And take it even further. Let's say, like right now, we're at this book fair and we're talking, right? We hit it off, right? And okay, if it's male, female, maybe because something could be, but let's just say it's same sex, right? Um, and you have a good time, you're talking, and then later, 15 minutes later, you're at the bus stop and you're standing next to each other. You don't say anything,
Really?
and and the thing about it, because they think, yeah, but the whole thing is, and you might think, like
Why are
just
they ignoring me now? We
right,
just got through
yeah,
talking.
and maybe you didn't notice it because, especially if you're the black person, you know they noticed you, right? So you're like, oh, she's not talking to me, and but she's thinking, or might, I don't know, it could be one of these things. You don't want to talk to me, so we have the wa, they call it wa, harmony.
Wow.
We have to protect the harmony of the group. So there's no yelling, there's no getting in your face or so even
Wow.
if you disrespect me or whatever, I got if I have to think about everybody else first. I gotta yeah
Wow.
yeah, but
Just smile anyway.
or you deal with it, but you can't like the people over there can't be like what's going on.
Oh, so you don't make a public display.
No
I did
respect.
notice that when I was in Japan, Jana, because I rode public transportation. It was very crowded.
Very
There
quiet.
was no, very quiet. Everybody minded their own business. You know, they had their head in
Yup.
their cell
Yup.
phone or their paper. See, here, there's always some kind of drama going on, but there was none there.
Osaka's a little different. Osaka they get a little loud.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. Oh, okay. You sound real British to us. I mean, you sound real, definitely UK sounding.
It's not that, but it's definitely not New York.
Not New York.
And and by the way, I'm hoping I'm trying to I would love to do a book fair in London next summer. So
We'll definitely make sure that I hook you all up in terms of your contact information so that can happen. Now you don't seem to have an accent. Oh, right, absolutely, yes. So now, one thing I was wondering, because Taekwondo doesn't have an accent that I can hear. Did you learn English from an a non I guess accented person, or where does your English
Well, no,
come
no.
from?
I went to school mostly in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly New Jersey. Like, yeah, almost all. Even I went to Rutgers. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So as a young child, you were still in the States when you were learning language.
Right.
Okay, and then you went to Japan later.
When we first came, though, I didn't speak English, right?
Oh, okay.
So I didn't go to speech classes and everything. And that was a little bit strange. Yeah, it really was. Well, the main thing was because my mother set us ahead because she wanted us to learn English because she couldn't get her English was terrible. But we learned Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Because we went to Spanish language, and I knew it wasn't English, but she came. I was speaking to her in Spanish, but she was horrified. She was like, "Oh my God!"
That's not what I wanted you to learn. Wow.
She was upset. Very upset. Okay. Okay, now racism.
How bad is racism in Japan?
Well, I try to differentiate between racism, bigotry, and prejudice, right? To me, without getting too much, when I say racism, I'm talking about a global system, like one that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing pretty much breaks down, and something that is dominating all areas of people activity. So when we talk about that, racism for like Brazilians or Koreans in Japan, they could say that. But if you're from the West, you go to Japan, um, there's basically no racism, but there is prejudice. And what do I mean by that? Because Japan was conquered by the United States, everybody knows. So when Japanese greet or meet the descendants of Westerners, they have a Japanese complex, and I write about that in 21st century. Like that's why the huddle, they don't want you to speak Japanese. They're trying to keep you out.
So if I went there and I spoke Japanese, they would not be favorable of that. They'd be like, "Why are you speaking our language? We don't know you." I mean, how would they respond?
It goes back and forth. But for the ones who are especially trying to learn English, they'll definitely try to get you off of it.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Yeah, they want to speak English to you.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, I used to get on because there's homestay situations, right, where a Japanese will go to Australia or Canada or something, and they'll stay 6 months with a family and get their English up. They'll come back, and then the same kids will come to Japan, right? Their homestay brother, sister, and then they won't speak Japanese to them.
Oh, wow.
And the kids are complaining.
What? Oh, you speak Japanese?
Yeah, I thought it was just a simple like prejudice thing, but then I started looking into it, and I was like, no, this is a coping mechanism from the war.
Oh.
Because they don't do it to Chinese people. They don't come to the Chinese ni hao.
They don't do that.
It's only so a lot of times when I go places, when I live in Kagoshima, I just acted like I didn't speak English. Like I told them, my father's from Ethiopia, and so I just get and even on the plane coming over here, I have to remember I'm coming to America. But they'll speak Japanese, switch, and once they look at my name or something, then they start speaking Japanese to me. But it's kind of annoying to me because if they speak English, that's one thing. but they'll slow you down. I don't, just say the Japanese. Just say the Japanese.
Yeah, just say it the way you know how to say it.
But again, the war, when like the book I'm writing now is goes back into World War II historically. Uh, the book is it's a contemporary written book, but the characters. In fact, so I write about the war, and you start researching how bad how the trauma that ensued from World War II. It's so unfair.
That's what I hear. A lot of trauma, especially here with the concentration camps. You know, the internment camps. I understand that there was a lot of trauma. That's something that people won't talk about there, or too traumatized to talk about.
Okay, well, another thing, when you leave Japan, Japanese don't see them as Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah, because even up until the Tokugawa Shogunate, if a Japanese person left Japan and came back, they would kill him.
Wow.
You can't bring any foreign ideology. Yeah.
Wow.
This, of course, is back like the Shogun.
Yeah.
If you any Japanese left and came back, you're a traitor.
Oh wow.
You're gonna come back with these treasonous things. And so like I was like, when Japanese go to America, because really to be Japanese, you have to be involved in a.
Oh, what were you saying? I'm sorry, we missed the first part. I'm sorry, Zhana, we missed the first part. What were you saying? They created their own language.
Yeah.
Ah.
It was a dialect. And Japanese are the same way. Each region has its own dialect.
Wow.
And they can't understand each other.
Wow. Ooh. Oh, so if I can just say bonjour, comment allez-vous, then that'll get me in the door, huh?
But if you think about it, yeah, that's showing respect. Disrespectful, yeah. Disrespectful, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Yes. Yes. What? Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, before we go, I want to make sure I remind our viewers and listeners of our guest book, 21st Century Japan Decoded, and that's author Taquan Amaru here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. And he has another book here, too. And this one is called, can you pronounce this title?
Guy Kokujin, the story. And it's actually a trilogy.
Guy Kokujin. Yeah. Oh, I said it.
This is book 2.
And this is book 2. And
I'm going to, in the presentation, I'm going to explain the kanji. I'm going to explain it in the presentation today.
Yeah, so he'll be doing a presentation later today at the book fair. We may still be videotaping live. I think our radio broadcast will be off, but we may still share that with our viewing audience. And definitely, we want to make sure that people hear what you have to say. And if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, come on down to the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. Don't worry about a little water. It's all right.
It's going to stop raining.
It's going to stop in a minute. So we'll take a commercial break and let you get back to your customers.
I certainly will.
Or any kind of books.
Yep, any kind of books.
Yeah, authors of any kind. This is an international author, So, hey, we'll do that. All right. Yes. Yes.
All right, sis.
Right.
Okay. Thank
All
you very
right.
much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for having me on. Both of
All
you.
right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate
Peace to the London folks in London and people around the world.
you. All right. Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All righty. Thanks so much.
Okay.
So I'm gonna run a commercial, Zhana, and move to the next. Yes. Well, I was gonna move to the next. Yes, because rather than them come to where I'm just moving my camera around to where they are to make it a lot easier. So we'll run this commercial and then a couple of commercials. In the meantime, I'll be right back. All righty, and thank you so much. Great, and I'll be back to buy a book.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. I'll send you the link so you can. Yes. All righty, so we're going to. I might have to go and get my backpack. All right. So we've got another author here that we want to give an opportunity.
It's this new.
Now, what I'll probably need to do.
It's email services, but they have this specific kind of
So,
kind of thing where you can there's a lot of like you don't have to use crypto now, so don't use that because like.
So yeah, we'll run a couple of more. Give me a chance to get set up here at the next. The next one is.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Having called to world peace restoration of life, transcend culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. Your community now is committed to bring world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I'm Director Susan Cleave.
All righty. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Yes.
Behind. Well, that's fine. It's a water bottle.
All right. Well, let's see here. All right, Zhana, we are back, and I'm here. Yes. So now next, I'm here with Seashell. Granados. Did I? Yes. Yeah. The other author was talking to some customers, so I didn't want to disrupt. So we'll just. Alrighty. So we're talking to Zhana live from the UK. And I'm excited because we get a chance to hear something really fascinating. I'm gonna hold up this book for our viewing audience. Cafecito, is that it? Right?
Cafecito.
Cafecito.
Yes.
Cafecito. Let me pronounce it right. Cafecito.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Zhana. I am the Assistant Chief of Staff for the Education Committee for City Council.
Ah.
She's the Chief of Staff.
Hello.
And we're just out collecting cards from everyone for any future events in case you all might want to be a vendor.
I do not have a business card, but I have my email if you want to write it down or take a photo of it.
I'll take a photo.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sorry to
Zhana.
interrupt you.
Oh, it's okay.
Have a good
So,
one.
Zhana, we're here. We're a lot of educators are here at this book fair because they're looking at books they can possibly use for the Chicago Public Schools. So this is a great place to be. And if you're watching us live, you're in and around the Chicagoland area, we want you to come on down and experience the Soulful Chicago Book Fair at 63rd in Dorchester. Authors from all over, and I believe Seashell is from California, right?
Yes, I am from California. My parents are from Mexico.
So what part of Mexico? Or what part of California, I guess I should.
I'm from, we call it the Valley, so 818 area code. If you know that, if you're familiar with that.
Ah,
I'm more closer to. I'm about 45 minutes away from LA, but
oh,
yeah, so
okay.
not too far away.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm originally born and raised in California, but I did move over here to Chicago 3 years ago with my boyfriend. We met in California at university. We started dating, and then we moved in together at the start of the pandemic. And then a couple months, we decided to go move here to Chicago, where he was raised. And this Chicago has been my home now for about 3 years now.
Cool now. Yeah, it is nice. Yes. Yeah, the way I pronounce the name, I just wrote it phonetically. Sea shell. That way that way I would mispronounce it. But now, what was the question you asked, Jana? Oh, what made you decide to write this
Okay,
book?
yeah. So I had taken a writing course during at my university, and it was on focused on creative nonfiction. So yeah, it is nonfiction with a creative twist where we take a lot of elements from poetry. So a lot of like lyrical elements like alliteration, imagery, metaphors. So very fancy writing.
Mm.
And I had a great time during that class. And as I was doing my assignments for that class, I would give them to my boyfriend too, and he was like, "This is really good. Maybe you should probably write a book." And I was like,
That's encouraging.
Maybe not right now." And then I started working, and I was like, "No, maybe I do want to write it." So he was a very big advocate for that. So he just basically pushed me.
Hey,
And
you got the right guy.
I do. I absolutely do. So he basically pushed me to do it, and I started doing it. And yeah, but that class was basically the biggest push, and my boyfriend, yeah, who got me started on writing this book.
It makes me think about, Jana, I think about learning culture, when somebody shares different things like food and conversation, family, you really get a feel for how people live. And I think a lot of people can benefit from hearing somebody else's experience because it helps us to know in a lot of ways how we're really all alike. Certain things that evoke memories, like what it feels like on a Sunday morning, with your family, and or working in the kitchen with your mother, things like that. Because I can remember those things like that. And my mother would bake cakes and show us how to put the ingredients in. You remember those things.
You do, you absolutely do. Yeah, my mom and I never cooked side by side because, especially in the beginning, I was learning, so I had to practice. But I wasn't fast enough for her. She'll be like, "No, just move over and let me handle it." So
Just get out of the way, let me do it.
yeah, literally. But I was just like, once I moved out, I was like, okay, I have to cook for myself, and then I practiced and I got faster. But yeah, I gained those skills, but I don't think I'm as fast as her. But that's alright. Yeah.
Mm.
I use her recipes. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes.
Uh-huh. So in one of them, my one of my best friends, she's Filipina, and we met in middle school. So we had this big, strong love for big animals. And like I said, she's Filipino. And one of our favorite animals that we always would talk about were whale sharks. So in one of the essays, I talk about, hey, we should travel together and let's go to the Philippines, where you're from, and we can explore. So, and then also in the Philippines, that's one of the very few places where you actually swim with whale sharks.
Wow.
So I talk about doing that, wanting to do that, and other things that we can do, what we can see, and like meeting her family, eating her food, and things like that. So she could be my tour guide, but we can also explore more of her home island together. But she was also born and raised over there, and she came to California when she was about 9 years old, I think. I don't know. I wrote it in the book, but
Wow.
that's one of the things. So it's like a dream itinerary.
Wow. That would be nice.
It would, yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. What was the question? Oh, she said, did you actually? Was it something that you
No,
actually went?
we
So you're still planning it.
We're still planning it. Yeah, we have yet to do it, and it's not very. It's not at the top of our priority list right now. We're
Sounds like
both
fun.
adults working, and then it's just like, okay, we're gonna do this eventually, but we have yet to actually set aside a time for that.
Now, did you find that eventually? Yeah. Now, yeah, it'd be another book. Yeah.
It would be.
Now, one thing I was wondering, Zhana, because a lot of times when people travel and meet people from different cultures, was her being a Filipino? Was there a lot of? Did you find a lot of, I guess, similarities culturally? Coming from the islands, and then you have a background in Mexico. Was there a lot of similarities in terms of maybe food or, or other tastes in certain things, music?
Yeah, because way back when, I forget, I'm not very good with history, but the Spanish conquered the Philippines. So we do have that background where she has a very Spanish last name, Perez. So she would always joke around with me, because of you, I have a Spanish name. And I was like, I'm sorry, it just happened, But we do speak even one of their languages, Tagalog, that they have a few bit. I think they're called loan words, but yeah, I want to say they also say gato, which means cat in Spanish, but they also have that same word. So it's just like there's definitely a lot of like similarities. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So but the Philippine language is different though, right?
Absolutely, yeah. But like just like a few little tidbits like that, you can definitely hear where like there's some Spanish influence. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's cute. Yes. Did you say she's been your friend for a long time, right?
She's been my friend since middle school. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes.
I do talk about other friendships too. There's this. I was a camp counselor during the summer. Yes, I was. So I actually talked about learning how to make these little friendship bracelets. I also
remember
saw them
those.
in my book. How my kids taught me how to make it, but also I was like,
I remember those.
In my group, my tribe, we had.
Yeah, that was definitely a summer camp thing.
It's always a summer camp thing, yeah.
Oh, that was different, yeah.
Yeah, so I talk about.
Oh, starting a fire with a magnifying glass. You're learning how to do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's considered a survival skill, I guess. If you go camping and things like that. But yeah, you all cheated. Right. Yeah, where you would have a magnifying glass and not a, yeah, I guess in theory, at least it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, one day I'm gonna have to do that next time I do a camping trip with some children. Yes. So now was your Seashell, was your growing up more rural or more urban, just in terms of the experience? Did you were you
I would say more urban. Yeah, we weren't really outdoorsy much. I
okay?
didn't.
Wasn't a farm
No.
land kind of thing. Oh,
Yeah, definitely more city. Yeah, small city, but yeah, it was. Yeah.
ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a fun childhood, though.
Yes.
One thing I liked about this book, because you think about the joy people have around eating. She's got some nice illustrations of food, my favorite thing. But people tend to think of good times when they think of eating together, and usually that's when people think back on their childhood. That's what they remember. Things like, were there certain I guess festivals or celebrations that you all had growing up?
Yeah, we would. I talk about with the same essay with the Sunday brunch. We talk about the Las Rosas. Yeah, where we talk about where and I believe in the Bible it says it took about 3 days for Jesus. No, the three kings visited baby Jesus in the what's the word? I'm blanking right now.
The manger.
In the manger, yeah. So basically, they had this whole feast and everything, and then how in Catholic tradition we have this for in Mexico where we do this thing called what's the name of the cake? We cut a cake, and it's it's like a subtle flavor. There's like some citrus in it, but it's called like the king's crown. There's some little like candy food on top of it. But basically, when you cut into the cake, you don't want to get the little plastic baby figurine. Because if you do, you are selected to host a social gathering and serve food to everyone.
That's an interesting tradition.
It is. It is. It's so funny because everybody's cutting their slices. You can cut a big slice or a small little slice, but the whole point is like you do not want to get the little baby and you don't know where it is. Like no one knows where it is. So it's just like we're all like trying to see who got the baby. Like, oh, did you get it? Oh, now it's your turn. You gotta make us some food. It's like such a blast.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It does. Yes.
Yes. Well, it is definitely. I would urge people to get a really a good feeling book that can kind of make you smile. And it's here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. We're here at 63rd and Dorchester for those who are in and around the Chicagoland area. A little water running from the sky, but it's okay.
That's okay.
It's a little water. But it's definitely a nice atmosphere, wonderful books, and I'm going to make sure I get this one. And I'm really enjoying this. So, Zhana, we're going to take a break, and I'll move to the next. Move to the next guest. And we want to thank you so much, Seashell.
Thank you.
I got the name right. Yes. Oh, and you missed all the wonderful things she said about you. Yeah. Got the great guy here.
That's my boyfriend who inspired the book.
All right. Yes, Mr. Inspiration. Yeah. All righty. Well, John, I'll let you handle the switchboard, run a few commercials, and we'll be right back after that. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. It's great.
Yes. And I will be back to buy a book in a little while. All righty.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. It was just sitting right there. I mean, you can still
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes, thank you. All righty. Well, let's see. Ooh, it is wet.
Hope you don't melt.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have a product or service?
Trying to run between the raindrops here.
And get new customers from around the world. Advertise on the Female Solution Radio Show. You may have a great product. You may even have a fantastic website. But how do you let people know you exist? Kelvin, promote your business on one of the most dynamic shows on Blog Talk Radio. female solution. You'll reach an enthusiastic audience of more than 100,000 loyal daily listeners with a specially designed 30-second ad that will drive customers directly to your website. We'll send you statistics as tracked by Blog Talk Radio to let you know the numbers of demographics to those hearing your advertisement. Your ad will run during the live 2-hour morning show.
Pull up another chair here. Oh, there we go.
I'm trying to get it out the rain.
Yeah.
You'll reach our worldwide audience on their laptop, iPod, iPad, and more. Watch the words for your product or service increase.
Like Chianti.
Visit your word, we'll create a 30-second radio ad and watch your business increase.
Alrighty, we're back. Yeah, so we've got Lekiantia Naylor, author of 20 Tips for Financial Success. She's also got a children's book we can talk about. But of course, how many people need them 20 tips for financial success? Everybody. So here she are. So we're live with Zhana from London. Yes.
Yes. Hi, thank you.
So yes. Oh yes.
Well, I really had no intention on writing a book. Never thought I would be an author. And then one day I was looking on Indeed for a job that works well for my family, and I couldn't find anything. So I had prayed about it, and I was like, I'm really talented. I got a lot of things I can do. Lord, show me what I should be doing. So one day I was laying down, and he told me the title. He gave me like a couple of the tips that I was very knowledgeable about. He told me, write this book, and when you're finished writing the book, there's some people at your church that has published. Ask them what the next steps are. So I did that. It took me a month to write my first book, and once I was finished, I went to one of the ladies and asked her, how do I go about getting it published? And I think it took like 2 weeks, and I had my first book published.
There you go.
I'm sorry. It was self-published. I found someone, and then I ended up republishing it through my company. So I learned how to publish as well. So I'm the author and the publisher. Say that again. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Speak a little louder. It's kind of raining a little bit, and it's making a little bit of noise. Oh, who's your target audience?
My target is really anybody who needs financial assistance. I really want to try and get it out to the younger audience, like high schoolers, before they get out into the world, so they can know how to manage their money, plan accordingly, and just don't mess it off before it's too late and they get all this debt. They can build their credit and all that stuff.
You know, that's really critical, because they don't teach anything about finances in school. Nothing. Yeah.
Right. No. Yeah, and my book was based off of trial and error, things that I tried and I know work. So if you follow all of the steps, you're guaranteed to have success. So. Well, my very first one is tithing. People don't understand how important it is to tithe. Like, when I wasn't tithing, it's like I never had enough money, ever. And then once I started giving God his portion first, I never lacked, ever. give 10%, your first 10%. Before I pay anything else, I always give my 10% of my income back to God before I pay anything else. That's the first thing. I don't know. It's just like it's in the Bible. It's something that you're supposed to do, and I don't know how it works, but it works. It's
Now you know the science behind that. You know, Zhana, the science behind that, because everything is vibration. When you feel that you have abundance, you attract abundance. So if you feel that you have enough where you can contribute back to really who's the originator of all abundance, then the energy of that is what attracts more to you. But if you feel like you don't have enough, that kind of fearful, stingy thing, well, I don't have enough. If I give, I don't have enough. Then that energy of not having enough will attract to you not having enough.
exactly.
So it's a scientific principle, and
It works.
it works.
Like I don't know how to explain. It works. I have not lacked. When I wasn't doing it, I always was.
Yeah. Well, you know what I would say, Zhana, to people who might feel like, well, I don't go to a church or whatever. It's the principle of giving. So even if you don't give to a church, we're all God's people. If you just give regularly to, say, a charity or some good work that's being done, you give a portion of what you have earned back so that it can circulate in society and do good for people. It's the same spiritual principle because you're acknowledging, number one, that what you have, really none of us own anything. All of us are borrowing from what the Creator has given. And even if one doesn't have a religious belief that says there is a creator or anything like that, it's still an understanding that we're sharing what the earth has provided. And so whatever we have, we're stewards of it. We're not owners of it. And we should share with others so that everyone has. So therefore, there would be no poverty if we all understood that, and no one would be suffering. So sharing is what brings back to you the abundance that you're sharing with others. So even if a person doesn't do it as a religious principle, the understanding that we're all responsible for each other and we should share with each other, it's still, the more you share, the more you get back.
Right.
Yeah, you might have to speak up a little bit because we're kind of battling a little bit of rainwater here. Yes. Yeah. Zhana, I need you to raise your volume on your voice a bit because the rain has started to hit a little harder. So, yes. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Lekiantia.
Lakiantia.
Yes. It
Where
it's,
the name originate from?
my mom's name is Lakithia, so she kind of just made it up. Honestly. It's
A creative
she's very
inspiration.
very creative. All of me and my sister's names are all kind of it comes from hers. She wanted us to be like kind of like with the names.
Oh, yes. She wanted originality.
Yeah, she
Now, the
definitely
people
did.
always ask you, where's your name from? What language is that? The people ask you that
All
all
the
the time.
time. I'm like, she just made it up. It's nothing to it.
Hey, go, Mom. That's right. I like originality. Yes.
Yes, but right. Yes.
Yes. So,
No, in a month. It took me a month to write my book. Yes. Just know exactly what you're, writing about. Um, Even if you don't, just start somewhere. Because for me, the hardest part is the first paragraph. Like, but once I get past that first paragraph, it's like it all just kind of flows. Your brain juices start going. It gets a lot easier to just express what it is that's on your mind. So just keep trying, and eventually you'll get there. And then if you need advice from others or somebody who's better at writing to like give you some ideas, that really helps to piggyback off of other people. Like, hey, I need some ideas on how I could word this better, or just depending on the topic and stuff. So with my children's book, I asked a bunch of my friends, what are some things you miss about being a child? And that's kind of where I picked, yeah, and I picked whatever answers got the most votes. That's what I put in my book. And yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yes. Um, Not cooking, not having to worry about what to cook every day, um, not having to go to work every day, being able to just play and have the freedom to imagine, not paying bills. That was a big one. So, yeah, it was quite a few things that didn't make it to the book, but that's kind of what I did. It is. It's going to be another children's book, and it's going to be the reversal. So it's going to be kids thinking about all the stuff that they're going to do when they get grown, because kids just think, oh, when I get grown, I can stay up. Like, no, you can't, because now you got to go to work, or I won't have any. When I get grown, I won't have nobody to tell me what to do. Well, really, you got a lot more people telling you what to do. Like,
It's true.
it's not what you think.
So, so I'm holding up the book for our viewing audience. 20 tips for financial success.
I haven't yet. I do have it to where you can book a consultation, and I do plan on doing like seminars and stuff like that. Well, I did do one already, but yeah, I do plan on getting into doing that. So right, and then I have a journal that goes with it, so it could be very interactive. Like we can go through it together, and the journal is very very detailed. Like I like pretty much it's like me holding your hand going through the whole process. So Um, so in the journal, I have it to where it's like a yearly calendar. So every month has a calendar. In the beginning of the month, you kind of go over your budget and what you got together, and you can on the calendar you put um, when things are due, when certain bills are due, so you can keep track of it. At the end of the month, you will see how you did as far as your budget. If you went over, um, it's a daily tracker, so you could write down what you spent your money on. So at the end of the month, like, dang, what happened? And then you can go back and look, like, oh, that's what I did. I've spent X amount of money on something I shouldn't have. And then at the end of each month, I ask you, like, what was the issue? How did we solve it? And then every 3 months, it's like I'm doing a check-in, saying, okay, how did you do these past 3 months? What can you do better for the next 3 months? So I got a yearly thing for that. I have a birthday budget, Christmas budget at the end of the book, vacation budgets. If you wanted to plan to buy a house, I have like a piggy bank kind of thing where you put your goal. So a house is your goal and how much you put in there, and then you can just. I have a part where you write down how much you deposited towards your goal, and you can like kind of color it in. It's really interactive. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I just did that one thing with the calendar this just this last year, and it does make a difference
It does.
because what was happening before, a bill would be due, and then like, oh wow, there's a bill due. I'll make sure I got the money in the account and all that kind of thing. But if you put it on the calendar and you plan on it, then it doesn't catch you by surprise. You're not scrambling, or like you say, you spent the money for something else. You're like, oh, the electric bill's due tomorrow, and I just bought a new pair of shoes that I didn't need. All that kind of stuff. So it's just planning, and it makes sense. That way you don't end up, scrambling. And so I thought that was a good tip. Another tip that I saw in the book, Zhana, that I wanted to maybe you can elaborate on. You said put money into something that will make money. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't think in terms of maybe an investment that will give you a return.
Right.
And,
it'll make money while you're sleeping.
Yeah. So give us some examples of some things that people can do with their money that would make money,
well,
in their sleep or
personally,
or whatever.
I plan on doing real estate. Like I want rental properties. So that way, I'm constantly making money
because somebody's paying the rent.
Somebody got to pay their rent.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think. And then it's like stuff that you can leave behind for your children. So it's like stuff like that.
Yeah. Even writing a book, because people are going online and they're going on your website, they're ordering your book, and
Yeah, my daughter, she wrote a book, so that'll be something that she's 7.
Wow. So, okay, we got these young authors here, right? Wow.
So that's something that she'll constantly be making money.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And then also in both of the books is a breakdown on how to track your credit. Because like I said, mine used to be 4 and now it's 8.
That's good.
And it's a chart in there to where you can go on Credit Karma or something, and you can write down all your derogatory stuff and interest rates, and you can like literally track it. And I go kind of through it with you on what to pay first and how to navigate it, because I kind of figured out how it works. And I was like, oh, that's how you get it to go up.
A lot of people, when their credit gets really bad, they just say, oh, forget it, I just have bad credit. So they just don't try to borrow anything, or they pay really high interest rates because they think it's not fixable.
No, it's definitely fixable, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg to get it fixed either.
That's good to know.
No, you don't. Well, first, the parents need to get more knowledgeable about how to, because you can't really teach nobody if you haven't applied it yourself. So I think the adults need to get more serious about it. You can get my book in my journal.
Yeah, and matter of fact, tell the audience how they can order your book.
Yes. By saving, like I really think saving your money, like okay, with income taxes, for instance, people when they get their income tax, they want to just go and buy a car or buy a bunch of clothes and stuff. I haven't done that in I don't even know how long. I always take my income tax, split it in half, and I use it towards the biggest bills, the 2 bills, which is usually the car note and the rent or mortgage.
Yeah.
I put that and I put it up so that way for the next few months you don't have to worry about it. You can actually take care of all of your other bills, or you could take care of stuff that's important. So it's like things like that, and then eventually doing that, all my bills was paid up for the entire year.
Wow.
Like it's just doing small things that can lead you to being able to make bigger financial investments, because you don't have to worry about your car note or your mortgage for a whole year.
Wow. A lot of free money.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And it's definitely trying to pay your bills up for the year makes it a lot easier. So you like starting out with the smaller bills, if you total up how much it costs for your phone bill, like it might be like $1,200, you could literally pay that off for the whole year and not have a phone bill. And then start with all of the small ones, pay them all up, and then you it's really not hard, especially once you see how much a lot of your bills are. You're like, oh, that's all I'm paying for the year.
Yeah.
I had that last week. I could have just paid it up for the year.
I think that's the challenge is being disciplined. I think one of the tips in there is being disciplined.
Right.
Because most of the time people buy to do impulse buying.
Right. Discipline is a very, very right. So it's just people got to change their way of thinking and be willing to make sacrifices, temporary sacrifices, so that way they can enjoy their self long term. And a lot of people just want stuff now.
That's the thing. That's what makes people blow money.
And that's why people are in the situations at the end they don't know how to just, okay, let me not go out every weekend.
Yeah.
Let me do
eating at the restaurants.
Yes,
every week.
like
yeah. Stay home and cook sometimes. Yeah.
I had to sacrifice for a couple years, but I don't regret it because I can do a lot of stuff now. Right.
Yes.
Right. Right. Because while everybody else that was clubbing every weekend, now they sitting there like, dang, I need to do it. And you out on the cruise somewhere because you saved your money and now you got the you financially able to do whatever you want and your bills are still paid. So yeah. I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? Off of like the things I learned from the book. Well, like I said, by doing my income taxes the way I did, I was able to go from paying my stuff every month to paying it yearly. Um, from what else did I do? My credit being from the 4 to the 8, like it just the discipline and constantly being very consistent on it.
So I have a question. I have a question when it comes to
huh?
Oh yeah, the question I had was about when you're trying to raise your credit score, and sometimes people look at their bills that maybe they have, like I said, they had a medical bill that was very high, and they just kind of let it go, and just don't pay it because it just seems like it's insurmountable. How do you deal with those kind of bills that may have wrecked your credit, and maybe just gave up on it, and as a result, it wrecked your credit because it was never paid? How do you get rid of that on your credit score? Is that doable? And how
it is doable. I actually had not me, my ex-husband had some on there. And so what you do is you would write it down in that journal, and I say start with the smallest ones first because you can knock out a lot of small ones and then that'll shoot your credit up because you're able to knock out so many at once. Versus starting with the highest one, it's gonna take you a long time, and then you got all these small ones that could have been taken care of.
Eliminate.
So you start off with the small ones first, and then that'll help bump your credit up. And then just make payments on it. Like you don't have to even pay the whole thing. Just put something towards it so it's decreasing. and that helps.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Exactly.
eventually. Yeah.
If it's $20, like don't go to Chick-fil-A and get a family meal. Go put the $20
On that
on
bill.
that bill.
Yeah. That's where the discipline comes in when you don't do the money blowing things that you do, like, like you say, spend $20 eating out when you really could just go home and eat,
Right, right.
the little things.
So it's really, when you think about it, like I could have really did this years ago. It's not that bad
Yeah.
or that hard. We just make it hard. Right. Because like I said, we just want stuff now. We want to have fun now. We want to vacation now. We want everything now. Nobody wants to
Wait.
put in the work
Right.
because it's not fun. It's not fun to have to say no to doing stuff. It's not fun to have to be responsible. Nobody wants to be
Yeah.
responsible, really. But
Delayed gratification is hard.
Right.
But you got to delay it if you want to have the prosperity in the future. You got to delay the gratification now for a little while.
Right.
Just so that you can get that credit score and things up.
right, so that's why, because nobody want to be responsible. I didn't, but I wanted what I wanted my future. I knew what I wanted my future to look like, and I wanted that more than I wanted to hang out. So
Yeah, that's the thing.
you gotta want it more.
What do you
than-
want your future to look like? Well, we gotta take another break. Before we go, I want to make sure let people know. Let's see. Also, the children's book you can get right here at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. How I Wish by and illustrated by LaQuisha Allen. Wonderful illustrations.
Yes.
And author
Lakeantia
Naylor. LaKeantia Naylor. She wrote How I Wish to illustrate why being a kid is the best. She wants to encourage children to not rush to grow up and enjoy childhood while they still can, because believe it or not, the majority of adults just want to be kids again. Yes, we want to be children again.
Yes.
And sometimes I even pretend that I still am. So
Absolutely.
So we want to thank you so much. And give us your website where people can go to order your books.
It's the LN Books, THELN Books.com.
All right, fantastic. Come on down to the Soulful Chicago Book Fair.
Thank you.
All right, Zhana. So you can play a couple commercials, and we're going to head to our last guest, and I'll be back to buy a book.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, definitely wonderful children's book, and we always want to encourage parents to buy books for your children, read books to your children, because that encourages them to read and write. This sister got a daughter that's 7 years old, and she's an author. All righty. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and we're gonna let's see if we can run through these raindrops and get to our next author. Woo-hoo. Okay.
To make a positive difference in the world. Our job is to bring you
A little bit of water, but not so bad.
to do the same.
And thank you all, and feel free to add your comments as we enjoy these wonderful authors at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. You can find. Woo. Hey there. All right. So, let me see now. Ooh, I might need to. Maybe I can grab a chair from over there. All right. Give me a minute. Yeah. Oh, okay. Play one more, and then we'll be right back with our next guest. Oops. Uh-oh. Yes. Oh, yep. Okay, let's see. I know. Let me make sure you're in the. Oh, you move up a little bit. I don't want you to be in the water.
You can push that bag down.
Oh, okay.
Push that chair down from you.
Oh, there we
You
go.
come down a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my hood off.
Oh, you can move up if you want to.
Baby, you can slide down a little bit.
Oh,
Then
okay.
I can take my hood off.
All right, we are back, and we're now with Christine Ivory.
Hello, everyone.
Yes,
How you doing?
and we're live with Zhana from London in the UK. Yes. Woo-hoo. Yes. So she wants you to, yeah, tell us about the book, Rhymes and Riddles with the 26 letters.
Well, it's a children's book, and in this book, I teach the kids about fruits, colors, vegetables, and spices through rhymes and riddles, also to help them maintain a well-balanced diet. Also, I have a teacher's guide for this book, and this is a good book for the educators, for the teachers to have on their curriculum, for the kids to learn. And also in this book, I have images of cursive, print, letters. And also in the teacher's guide, it go a little bit beyond the letters. We go into addition and teach them how to make banana pudding, things like that.
You know what's interesting, Jana? You know, in the United States, they have stopped teaching cursive writing, I believe, in the schools. So this book is really critical because yeah, they don't teach cursive anymore because everybody's on computers. So you know you don't really learn cursive. You just learn how to type letters on a computer. So we were trying to figure out how are children going to learn how to sign their name if they don't learn cursive.
Yes, so I want to get back to that, putting that in the book and just giving the kids a little idea of what a cursive letter is and the images of cursive letters besides the print letters. So I put that in the book also.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, Jana, we're having a little bit of a sound challenge here. Can you speak up as loud as possible?
Correct. So I wanted to give them a little bit of what a correct. So
Yeah.
I wanted to put that in the book and get them a little feel of, what is a cursive letter, and look at a cursive letter, also look at a print letter. And this book really teaches them about to maintain a well balanced diet. I talk about the fruits, the colors, the vegetables, and the spices through rhymes and riddles, so they can have fun and learn while they're learning. Because a lot of kids don't like that. If it ain't fun, they don't want to learn. But I want them to have fun learning. That's why I put this book put this in the book so they have fun learning with the teachers, put it on their curriculum, get it into the school system.
Now, what ages is this address?
Oh, it can be from like 2 years old
Wow,
to
good.
10 years old.
Okay.
Because from reason why I said 2 from 10 year old, because I have the cursive letters and I also have the print letters. Also, I have rhymes and riddles, and some of the rhymes and riddles are a little harder. So I went from like 2 years old to 10 year old.
You know, a lot of people, John, I've known a lot of mothers that have taught their children how to read and write before they went to school. And sometimes, I mean, it's always a benefit, but sometimes the teachers don't know what to do with the child that already knows how to read and write because they got this stuck way that they're
Yes,
teaching. And then you have this child that's beyond
yes,
that, you know.
yes.
Oh, really? So what happens? So what happened when you went to elementary school and you already knew those things? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's better, and I always think it's better to teach your child at home anyway, um, because I think, a lot of other countries, that's what's expected. Parents are supposed to, as a matter of fact, because my daughter taught in South Korea she taught kindergarten, and they were teaching multiple languages, but she was learning, she was teaching English, and then the kindergartners also were learning Chinese. So they were learning language, but at home they were already taught Korean, so they already knew how. When they came to school learning their native language, how to read and write in that already. So when they went to school, they were learning other languages. So I think that's probably what Americans should think of. So with this book, Christine, uh, yeah, yes, you learn when you learn a language young, you learn it quickly. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's the thing that we're having challenges with here, because so many jobs are requesting that people be bilingual, and usually it's only the immigrants that have learned two languages. Americans are not teaching their children at home, so they're not prepared to learn a second language, so they're kind of behind. So a book like this, I mean, and it says this book was written to inspire children to learn the 26 letters through rhymes and riddles and have fun and enjoy learning. And I think it's important for us to have books in our home that teach children the basics before they get to school. And there's a teacher's guide as well. There's a teacher's guide that comes with this. So, if you're a preschool teacher, you want to get this book.
Get this book. I mean, you're gonna love it. You want to have this on add this to your curriculum. You're gonna love it.
Yes.
School teachers, principals, you want to get this book. You want to get this teacher's guide. Also, you want to get this book. Rhymes and riddles with the 26 letters.
Yes. Now, is there one of the rhymes you can read to us?
Sure. I can read one
So,
of
Johnny, you
mine.
want to listen to a rhyme coming out of the book?
I'm gonna read your rhyme right now. See if I get this rhyme. Okay.
Here we go.
What fruit am I? I have tropical thin skin. I come in two colors. I have a crisp flesh. I rhyme with the word snapper. And what are my colors?
I think it's an apple.
That's an apple. And explain that apple to you also. When that apple comes off the tree, it comes in two colors. It comes in green and it comes in red.
Oh.
Those are two colors the apple come in when it comes off the tree.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I did a little research and everything. Everything I did, I
That's smart.
researched, make sure everything was, right when I did it. So you gonna love this book. You wanna get also I have the answer key in the back of the book.
Yeah. And those are the things that are really good. Especially, I always say that city children tend to not know anything about fruits and vegetables because they're so far removed from nature. So they need to be able to identify colors with fruits and vegetables, and
Spices.
and yes, and then also connected with health, which is good because
Yes.
too many of our children are growing up on fast food, so they don't even hardly know what a banana or a pear or an apple looks like. Yeah, this is excellent. Yes, yes. Wow, a stick of celery. Well, you know, a lot of children don't eat vegetables.
No, they really don't because
Yeah. Well, the sad thing is, uh, because we don't do field trips like out to farmlands or just basic things like that. They don't even know what it looks like when it grows out of the ground, so they don't recognize it.
fruit market and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 Well, you know, that's one of the big issues here is that diabetes has become such a common thing, and so the way you combat that is to change what our children are learning about nutrition and get them started early so that they can. Yes. 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 So now, with the book, yes. Well, that's one of the things that um, we have difficulties with because families aren't spending time together doing those things like cooking. So now, one thing I was going to ask Jana, with this book, 26 Letters, there are a lot of young parents that may not know how to spend time teaching their children at home. That's what I observed when I was a teaching assistant in a kindergarten class and a first grade class. I found a lot of the young parents really didn't know that they were supposed to teach their children certain things at home. And so their children came to school just not knowing things like not knowing their letters, not knowing how to recognize colors. Does a teacher's guide, would it help a parent like that if
Yes,
they really
it,
didn't
it,
know how?
it will help parents that like you said, but don't know the colors. But it points out the colors. Like in the back here, I asked, what color am I? And I told you it comes in an apple when it comes off the tree. It comes in two colors.
Yes.
When it comes
Would you be
out
surprised you don't even know that?
when it comes off the tree now,
Uh-huh.
it comes to other more colors like you got the golden yellow
Yes,
and
you got
stuff
the
like
yellow
that.
one, you got
Yes,
the green,
yes.
you got
But when
the
they
red.
come off the tree, it's only comes with two colors, so that's be red and green.
Mm-hmm.
And also I talk about the banana. The banana is yellow.
Yes.
Also talk about the carrot. The carrot is
It's
orange.
orange, right.
Also talk about the date. The date is the golden, brown, and black.
Ah, yes.
Also talk about the egg. Eggs
The white, the
white,
brown, the
brown,
yellow.
and yellow. I talk
Mm.
about that. And also I got all this in there.
Yeah. This is the book that you really need to get if you've got a child that is
Yes.
preschool, going to kindergarten, whatever the case may be. You need to get this because this needs to be a
Yes.
book that's in your home
Yes.
so that your child can have these skills before they get to school.
Yes.
That's really what's needed.
Parents, teachers,
Yes.
you want to get this book, you're gonna love it.
Absolutely.
You're gonna love it.
Yes, you will. So before we go, can you give me your website and where they can order?
Yes, they can go to my email address. It's gonna be ivorybook70 at gmail.com. That's ivorybook70 at gmail.com. And also you can reach me, contact me at area code 662-764-0367. That number is area code 662-764-0367. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And that was author Christine Ivory, and of course her book is Riddles.
No, Rhymes
and
and Riddles with the 26 letters.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. One more question. We're getting ready to get some weather challenges here, but you got time for one more question. Yeah.
What advice would I give people that don't know how to help their children?
Don't know how to help their children.
Okay, so this is what you can do. You know, we go to the store and we get the little fruit snacks. That would be good for them also. And we go get the applesauce. The strawberry kind is good. The regular kind is good. So they got little treats that kids like that they would be, fruits that you could point out to them that they love. A lot of kids would be surprised. Some of them, they would eat sweet peas because they are, accountable a little bit. They'll eat that.
Yeah.
But you just have to go to the store and just, get it for them. And also, you can mix that sweet pea vegetable, mix it with rice, brown rice, mix it with chicken, like a little side dish, you just mix together, and the kids, they'll eat it.
Yes. Yeah. So be creative, parents. Come up with ways that you can teach your children some things, and take them with you shopping so that you can point these things out.
Take them shopping with you, let them point out things. And they can also with the fruit snacks, they have the fruit snacks and vegetables also.
Yes. There you go. You can always get those. Dried fruits, definitely. Yes. Well, we're about to sign off now, Zhana. And we want you all, just a little water coming from the sky. Y'all come on down. Come on down anyway. Get some of these books. It's definitely great books. And thanks to all the authors who worked with us. And you need to buy these books and have them in your library at home.
Thank you all.
All right. Thanks so much, Zhana. Yes, this has been really a great show, and I'm so grateful for all the authors. I'll be back to buy a book as well. Yes. All righty. Because yes, it's really good. Yes. Yes, they should. Yes, they definitely, and I really encourage parents to come out to the Soulful Chicago Book Fair and shop for books for your children, because you should have books on your bookshelf. You should have books. You should have entertainment that encourages their intellect. I think we get too focused on TV all the time, and as a result, our children don't develop the reading skills that they need and don't develop the language skills that come from reading. So thank you so much, and we're gonna make a mad dash through this rain for a second. Ah, okay, yeah, Zhana, it's kind of raining a little bit. Yeah, so but I wanted to make sure we got through the interviews and everything, and got our viewing audience a chance to know that it's still going on, the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. As you can see, we've got some great, resilient authors here doing some wonderful work with it. A little bit of rain not going to hurt. I hear a little bit of thunder, but that's okay too. And just wanted to, whew, yes, it has. And And of course, I definitely want to. Yes, tell us a bit about that while we're here. Yeah, how do people get in? How do people get involved in the the non-violent carnival for what how, was it again? The blogging carnival non-violent. Yeah, blogging carnival non-violent. Okay, go to the blogging carnival non-violent.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry about this.
Yes. So now, Zhana, is there a website they can go to? Okay, go to Facebook and go to the blogging carnival for nonviolence. All right, fantastic. We will do that, and of course, we invite you all to be back here with us for Soul Purpose Healing with Viata, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and I believe if you're in the UK, it's like the 2 in the morning, but that's okay. If you're a late night person, get on up and listen. If not, go to the archives. But we thank you so much, Zhana. It's been wonderful. Thank you for bringing our authors to the listeners there in London and all around the world. We appreciate you so much. We'll have to figure out how to get you here next year for the next Soulful Chicago Book Fair with your books. We want to. All right, we'll make that happen. Yes, definitely. And of course, we gotta figure out a trip to London, the next big event, or festival, or something. A bunch of us get on the plane and get on over there. That'll be big fun. Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, you heard it right here, folks. I said we're going to London. Absolutely. All righty, and we will see you all next time on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif here in Chicago, and there's Zhana live from London with success strategies. We've got Black Success with Zhana today and the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. We'll see you next time.